Everyone tells you that Monday is the best day to start. Monday is momentum. Monday is the fresh week, the clean slate, the moment you finally begin. The motivational industry has built an entire religion around Monday morning energy, and I'm going to show you today that this is precisely why so many plans that begin on Monday end by Wednesday and produce nothing. I am not speaking about productivity habits. I am not speaking about willpower or discipline or the quality of your intentions. I am speaking about something older and more precise than any of that. A specific principle embedded in Jewish law and in the mystical tradition that governs not just when to begin, but what Monday does to the energy of speech, of declaration, and of financial intention. And what that principle reveals is this. Monday is the one day of the week on which the ancient teachers explicitly warned against announcing your plans, speaking your financial intentions aloud, or declaring what you are about to build. Not because Monday is cursed, not because the day is malevolent, but because of what happened, and what did not happen, on the second day of creation. And when you understand what that means, you will never approach Monday the same way again. My name is Rabbi Naomi. I have spent more than 30 years in the texts of our tradition, and this specific teaching has been one of the most consistently misunderstood and most consistently ignored pieces of ancient wisdom I have ever encountered in my work with families and individuals navigating their financial lives. The people who dismiss it tend to be the same people who are still announcing plans that never fully arrive. The people who have absorbed it and applied it, I have watched what follows. It is not subtle. Stay with me through every layer of what I'm about to share. If you leave before I give you the specific framework for how to structure your week according to this principle, you will have the warning without the solution. And a warning without a solution is simply anxiety given a new name. Before we continue, type the words "not on Monday" in the comments right now. I want to know who is already feeling the recognition of this teaching before I have even explained it. When you type that, you are planting a small flag of awareness in yourself. That flag matters more than you think. Type it now, then stay. Here is the first thing most people believe that is quietly costing them. They believe that enthusiasm is neutral, that the energy you feel when a new idea arrives is simply motivation, and that motivation should be acted on immediately, spoken about immediately, announced to whoever will listen, because momentum is fragile and delay kills it. This sounds reasonable. It has the shape of wisdom. It is, in fact, one of the most expensive misunderstandings a person building any kind of financial life can carry. Enthusiasm is not neutral. The moment of announcement, the moment you speak a plan into the world, is a moment of enormous spiritual consequence. In Kabbalistic understanding, speech is not merely communication. Speech is creation. The Hebrew word for thing, davar, is the same word as the Hebrew word for speech. A thing and a spoken word are, in the deepest understanding of our tradition, the same category of reality. When you speak a plan, you are not describing it. You are beginning to construct it in a dimension of reality that precedes the physical. And the timing of that construction, the spiritual atmosphere in which those words are released, determines the structural integrity of what you are building. Most people believe that hard work is the primary variable in whether a financial plan succeeds. Hard work matters. But the ancient teachers taught that the vessel into which the hard work is poured is equally important. You can pour excellent water into a cracked vessel with great effort and great consistency and still find yourself dry. The crack in the vessel is the wrong timing of speech. And Monday is the most common crack in the vessels of people who cannot understand why their plans keep not arriving. Here is the second belief that must be dismantled before the teaching can land. Most people believe that the Jewish wisdom tradition is primarily concerned with ethics and prayer, with how to treat people, with how to speak to God, with the moral architecture of a life. And while this is true, it is profoundly incomplete. The tradition is equally, with equal seriousness, equal precision, equal textual weight, concerned with the structure of time. The Jewish calendar is not a scheduling tool, it is a map of spiritual energy. Each day of the week carries a specific quality, a specific spiritual frequency established at the moment of creation. And the ancient teachers documented these qualities in extraordinary detail. Not as poetry, as operating instructions. To ignore this map while trying to build a financial life is, and I say this with genuine sadness rather than judgment, the equivalent of a builder who ignores the soil report and lays his foundation wherever he happens to be standing when the enthusiasm arrives. The foundation may hold for a while, it may even look solid, but the instability is structural. It was decided before the first brick was laid. The tradition does not leave you without a map. The tragedy is that most people were never handed it. And here is the third belief, the one that costs the most. Most people believe that ancient spiritual principles are soft, that they operate in the background, that they add a dimension of meaning to life, but do not materially affect outcomes in the way that concrete action does. This is not what the tradition teaches, and it is not what history shows. The Jewish people have survived economic persecution, expulsion from over 100 countries, the systematic destruction of their material wealth across centuries, and have, in generation after generation, rebuilt financial stability, professional excellence, and institutional strength in conditions that should have made this impossible. The explanation is not simply resilience, though there is resilience. The explanation is not simply education, though there is education. A significant part of the explanation is the precision with which the tradition governs the relationship between time, speech, and material reality. The families who carried this knowledge and applied it were not simply more positive in their thinking. They were operating according to a map that most of the world did not have. And one of the clearest, most specific, most practically applicable pieces of that map concerns Monday, and why the second day of creation made it the one day on which financial plans must not be spoken aloud. Now I want to give you the truth that replaces these three dismantled beliefs. And I want to give it to you the way it was given to me, precisely, without softening, because it does not need softening. It needs understanding. In the account of creation in Bereshit, Genesis, something unusual happens on the second day, which corresponds to what we now call Monday. On every other day of creation, the text records a specific phrase, Vayar Elohim ki tov, and God saw that it was good. This phrase appears on the first day. It appears on the third day, where it appears twice. It appears on the fourth, fifth, and sixth days. It does not appear on the second day. On Monday, the second day of creation, God does not say it is good. The Talmud, in Tractate Pesachim, addresses this directly. The rabbis ask, why was the declaration of good withheld from the second day? And the answer they give is this: because on the second day, division was created. The waters above were separated from the waters below, and division, by its nature, is incomplete. What is divided has not yet found its resolution. What is separated has not yet reunited in its higher form. The second day ends in a state of incompleteness, in a state where the creative process has introduced tension but not yet resolved it. This is Monday. And the mystical teachers drew a direct and practical conclusion from this. A plan announced on the day that creation itself left unresolved, on the day the divine declaration of goodness was withheld, carries within it a structural incompleteness. Not a curse, not a punishment, a frequency mismatch. You are using a day whose spiritual signature is division and incompleteness, as the moment you speak into existence what you want to build and complete. The vibration of the vessel does not match the vibration of what you are trying to place inside it. And what the tradition observed, practically, over centuries, in business, in agreements, in declarations of financial intention, is that plans spoken on Monday have a disproportionate tendency to fracture, to start well and then divide, to carry within them a tension that eventually pulls the original intention apart. Now I will give you the proof from 3 directions, because 1 direction is interesting and 3 directions are conclusive. From the historical record of the tradition, the prohibition against beginning significant undertakings on certain days is documented in the Talmud and in the writings of the Rishonim, the medieval legal authorities, not as mystical suggestion, but as practical halakha, practical law. The rabbis of the Talmudic period were not romantic idealists. They were the most rigorous legal minds in the history of the Jewish people. When they encoded a warning about timing into law, they were recording an observed pattern, a pattern consistent enough and consequential enough to require legal attention. This was not superstition. This was empirical observation formalized into guidance. From my own years of practice, I have sat with families at moments of significant financial decision. I have watched people sign agreements on Mondays and seen those agreements unravel in ways that seemed disproportionate to the terms involved. I have watched people delay announcements to Tuesday and seen those same announcements land in entirely different soil, take root faster, attract support more naturally, encounter fewer of the early resistances that seem to gather around plans declared into the wrong frequency. I do not cite my own experience as proof alone, but 30 years of consistent observation is a form of evidence I am not willing to dismiss. And from the specific case of one family whose story I have permission to share. A man in his early 60s, a property developer who had been observing traditional Jewish practice his entire adult life, but had never encountered this specific teaching. He came to me after a 3rd consecutive development project had fractured at the partnership level. Each time after a strong start, each time with a breakdown that seemed to emerge from nowhere, each time costing him not just money, but the relationship with the partner involved. When I asked him to walk me through the timeline of each project, he looked at his records. Every single project had been formally announced, the partnership agreement signed, the investor conversation held, the public declaration made, on a Monday. 3 times. 3 fractures. He has not announced a project on a Monday since that conversation. His most recent development, announced on a Wednesday morning with specific additional practices I gave him for the language of financial declaration, completed without a single significant partnership rupture. That is not magic. That is operating according to the map. Here is the framework. 3 components. Each one draws on a term from the tradition, and each one is immediately actionable. The first component is Shmirat Halashon Shel Ma'aseh, the guarding of the speech of action. This is the Monday practice. On Monday, you do not announce plans. You do not declare financial intentions. You do not sign agreements if you can avoid it. You do not make the call in which you tell someone what you are about to build. You plan, you prepare, you think, you write in private. But the speaking of it, the release of the intention into the shared atmosphere, you hold. You are not suppressing the plan, you are protecting its vessel. You are keeping it sealed and strong until the soil can receive it. This is not passivity, this is precision. The second component is Yom Kinun, the day of establishment. In the weekly structure the tradition maps, Tuesday carries the doubled blessing. It is the day on which Ki Tov was spoken twice during creation. Wednesday carries the energy of the middle pillar, the day of balance and clarity. These are the days on which financial speech lands in receptive soil. When you have a plan that requires announcement, a conversation with an investor, a declaration to a partner, a public commitment to a project, you choose Tuesday or Wednesday with deliberateness. You do not do this passively. You look at your week and you ask, where is this announcement best placed? You are a builder choosing the right ground, not a builder pouring concrete wherever the truck happens to stop. The third component is Kavana Shel Hatalat, the intention of the beginning. When the day arrives and you are ready to speak your plan, you do not simply make the call or send the message. You pause for 60 seconds first. You hold the intention in silence. You breathe. And you say, in whatever language is yours, something to this effect. I am releasing this intention on the day of establishment, in alignment with the structure of creation. And I ask that what I am about to speak find its ground and take root, and not be divided. 60 seconds. Before the call, before the email, before the room where the announcement will be made. These three components together, the withholding on Monday, the choosing of the right day, and the 60-second intention before speaking, form a practice that requires almost no time and costs nothing, and operates consistently at the level of the vessel rather than the level of the effort. Your effort does not change. The ground it falls on does. I want to be honest with you about something. What I have shared today is a single principle, the principle of timing and speech. It is a powerful principle, and it is immediately applicable. But it exists within a larger system of how the Jewish wisdom tradition understands the relationship between time, language, and financial reality. The complete framework, 7 principles, 7 days, specific practices for each, is available in the program I have developed over the past 12 years. It is called Seder HaShavua Shel Shefa, the weekly order of abundance. It is not a motivational program. It is a precision map. Each of the 7 days carries a specific spiritual signature, a specific category of financial activity it supports, and a specific practice for engaging with that day's frequency correctly. What I have given you today is Monday, its warning and its wisdom. There are 6 more days, each one as specific and as consequential as this. The link is in the description. If you are ready for the complete map, not just one day's instruction, it is there waiting for you. Now let me tell you what to expect in the next 48 hours, because what follows the reception of this teaching is predictable. And if I do not prepare you for it, the predictable thing will happen, and you will misread it entirely. Within the next 2 days, you will almost certainly encounter a situation in which your instinct will be to announce something on a Monday. A plan will arrive with energy and excitement, and the urge to speak it immediately will feel both natural and urgent. This is the test. And this is where most people who receive this teaching abandon it on the first encounter. They say, but the opportunity won't wait. They say, but this is different. They say, but I need to move now. And they speak on Monday. And the plan carries in it, from the moment of its speaking, the frequency of incompleteness. I am not asking you to be rigid. I am asking you to be precise. If the opportunity genuinely cannot wait, if the window is truly Monday or nothing, then you apply the third component with exceptional intentionality. You take your 60 seconds. You speak with every ounce of conscious awareness you possess. You hold the vessel as firmly as you can while you pour into it. But in most cases, the opportunity can wait 1 day. In most cases, the urgency is manufactured by enthusiasm, not by reality. And in most cases, the plan spoken on Tuesday with intention lands more solidly than the plan spoken on Monday with excitement. Trust the map. Hold your position on Monday. Let the test arrive and let it pass without your collapsing the practice you have just received. What you have been given today is a piece of knowledge that has operated in the background of certain families' financial lives for over 2,000 years. They did not all become wealthy. This tradition does not promise wealth. It promises alignment, and alignment creates conditions in which what is destined to reach you is not blocked by the cracks in your vessel. That is what has been given to you. Tell me in the comments, what is the biggest financial plan or decision you have been carrying that you now realize may need a different day for its announcement? Name it in the comments, not the details, but the category. A business conversation, a partnership discussion, an investment decision, a declaration you have been putting off. Name it. Naming it is the first step in choosing the right moment for it. I read every comment, and I will respond to as many as I can. Next week, I'm going to take you into something that the Talmud calls Birkat HaMelacha, the blessing that belongs specifically over your work, and the precise way it must be spoken to carry legal and spiritual weight in the tradition. If you have ever wondered whether there is a right way and a wrong way to speak about your own profession and your own financial work, there is. And the difference in outcome is something I have documented across 30 years of observation. Subscribe now and turn the bell on so you do not miss it. And if what was shared today shook something loose in you, if you felt the specific recognition of someone who has been pouring into Monday vessels for years, press the like button. This knowledge belongs in front of more people. There are people in your own network who are about to make a Monday announcement that will cost them more than they know. Let the platform carry this to them. Choose your days with wisdom. Guard the speech of your plans with the precision of someone who understands that the vessel is as important as what you pour into it. The map has always existed. Now you have it. Shalom.